Duo's back with you. That's right. Ryan in Sacktown. Nate's ready to roll. How you doing? Everybody good on this Wednesday? Man, I got to tell you, Ryno, it seems like every week we're getting the news of one of our idols passing. I mean, if you go
Yep.
back to a month ago with Jim Otto, and then Memorial Day weekend, Bill Walton, and then Jerry West, and then yesterday the news of the Say Hey kid, Willie Mays, gone at the age of 93. I was blessed to watch Willie Mays play in person, and I mean, I still think to this day he's the greatest baseball player of all time. I know Babe Ruth, but I mean, what Willie Mays could do was just unbelievable, truly unbelievable.
And just as great of a baseball player, an even better person, a
Yep,
gentle giant.
yep,
Did not look at himself in any different light. And Grant,
nope.
somebody that has meant the world to this area and baseball in general.
Oh boy. I mean, what Willie Mays, I mean, he's synonymous with the Giants organization, both in New
Yep.
York and then, of course, when they moved to, San Francisco. But, that over the shoulder catch in game one of the 1954 World Series still to this day is arguably the greatest catch ever. He could literally do it all. He could literally do it all. Willie Mays, what a life. What a life.
Well said. Yeah, those catches over the shoulder, adjusting your body in a full
I
sprint,
know.
not as easy as they look. Anything that holds up that long, my man, holy moly, what a play.
All right. And then on the flip side, if you're Monty Williams, you get fired after 1 year as Pistons head coach, but don't feel too bad for Monty. They owe him $65 million.
Little obscure, Grant. Not just the timing, the circumstances. I feel like we don't have the entire story, Napes.
We never do. We never do. But, Monty is going to still get another opportunity. And again, he's got $65 million.
65.
So it's and listen, I don't know if oh wow, look at this. Thank you very
Wow.
much for the donation. Happy birthday, guys. Bennett's on me next time. Gotta get the kids to bed. We'll watch you or catch you on the replay. Thank you very much, Bane. Thank you
Bane.
very much. I
Thank
just
you,
had
my
my
friend.
I just had my birthday yesterday, and there's a real big birthday coming up for somebody here in 2 days.
Yeah, the big 4-0, Napes. We're 3 days apart. Go figure, but looking forward to it. How was your birthday? Did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was
Excellent.
good. But yeah, I had a good time. But 40, wow. I remember my 40th. I'm telling you, time flies, man. Enjoy it. The big 4-0, I always look at no one knows how long you're going to live, right?
Right.
I mean, we don't know, okay? But I always when I turned 40, I was like, wow, man, I'm at the halfway point.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you get to the halfway point. We've already got more years than some people, and I thought about what you said about Jerry West and Bill Walton's passing when we heard about Willie Mays. A full
Yeah.
life, a life well lived.
Haunted Horse. Wow, what a nice birthday gift. That was a nice birthday gift. Thank
Huge.
you very
Bane.
much. Again,
Thank you.
Bane, that's awesome. I'll put that up again so people can, give you proper credit. But we greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much. It's very, very generous of you. Very
You know,
generous of you.
Bane, you might just get Grant to sing happy birthday to himself with a birthday chat like that.
Yeah, it's a very good point right there. Oh man, that threw me for a loop. Thank you, Bane. That really is
Yes.
amazing.
Wow.
And thank you very much for all of the birthday wishes. We greatly appreciate that. Now, Hornet Horse, gentlemen, maybe I don't know if I would use gentlemen to describe us,
Yeah.
but we'll take it. Thank you very much.
Yeah. You're stretching the boundaries there, Horse, but generous of you. Almost as generous as
Yeah.
Bane.
All right. So I'm doing this off the top of my head, but I believe you are in the same category as me. Your birthday falls on Father's Day once every 7
Yes,
years, right? Yeah.
that is
Yep.
correct. More times
Yep.
than not, we celebrate them together, which is
Yeah.
a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah. I have every well, I guess with leap year, I guess it's every 6 years, but maybe I don't know what the hell the math is, but yeah, my 2 years ago, my birthday was on Father's Day, and it will be in a couple of years. So yeah, that's right. Yeah. Us
Good
Gemini's
memories.
got to
Yeah.
stick together.
We do. We do indeed. But hey, we're
Yeah.
here now. We're loving it.
Yes.
Back
Yeah.
and
My
better than
son
ever.
and my son's birthday is on the 23rd, so he's got a birthday coming up in a couple of days. So, yeah, and don't forget about Mr. Baki. Yes,
Yes.
indeed. Yes, I did like the cake from Serbia. Thank you very much. The basketball cake for GN the champ. Well, thank you. Baki's birthday was yesterday as well on the 18th, you know?
That's right. It's like somebody planned this. All of our birthdays scattered together.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's we appreciate all your support. Thank you very much. Bake, I
Yes.
hope you had a great birthday, my friend. I hope you had a great birthday over in Serbia. I hope everybody's doing well. You know, again, I want to go back to, you know, none of us live forever. Nobody lives forever. We're all going to get to a point, hopefully, at the end of the line when we have our normal life expectancy or maybe beyond. You know, Jim Otto had a great life. Jim Otto was, you know, in his mid 80s. Willie Mays, 93.
Yep.
Jerry West, 86. Right?
Yep.
Bill Walton, 71. You know, and Bill died from cancer that nobody even knew he had. He didn't tell anybody. But I celebrate all of those, but I feel so bad for Bill, just like I was very close with Paul Westfall when he died of brain cancer at age 69. I've shared that story many times about Paul. To this day, it's the saddest conversation I've ever had with another human being over the phone. When I lost my jobs on June 2nd, 2020, Paul was one of the first people to call me.
Yep.
And Paul could not have been nicer. He just could not believe what had happened. And he said, "Hey, I just want to let you know I'm praying for you and Star and your family." And I said, "Thank you, Paul. It means the world to me." And he said, "No." He goes, "Listen," he goes, "you need anything, you just call me. Uh, but I'm praying for you every day." And we spoke for a couple of minutes. And then, oh, I don't know, 6 weeks later, Paul calls me again. And he said, "Hey, just checking up on you. And I wanted you to know that I pray for you every single day." And we talked that time longer. May have been a 10-minute conversation, but he kept saying, "Hey, I'm praying for you and I'm praying for Star and your kids and your family." And um, it was then 2 weeks later that I woke up to a message on Twitter from Mike Lupica, who's was very close with Paul, putting out that Paul had been diagnosed with brain cancer. And that was on a Sunday. And I called Paul on Monday morning, and I didn't think Paul would answer his phone, and he did. And Paul was always so upbeat, so positive, so even through tough times, Paul was just a guy you'd want to be around. And he was so somber and so sad. And I said, "Paul, I go, I know you're not on social media, but I want you to know that you have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people praying for you." And he said, "Grant, I'll be okay." He goes, I'm praying for you. And I'm praying for the injustice that happened to you. And I pray for you every day. I said, "No, Paul," Paul, that's exactly what I said. I said, "Paul, I'm going to be fine. I don't have cancer that I know of. I'm healthy. I'm going to be fine, Paul. It's you that we need to pray for. It's not me." And the conversation was less than 3 minutes. And I did everything in my power not to completely break down on the phone because Paul was uh, getting to that point. And I hung up that phone with Paul. It was the last time that I ever talked to Paul Westfall. He was gone 6 months later. And I will never forget those 3 phone calls, but I will never forget that last phone call as long as I live. I think about it often. And I follow Cindy, his wife's, the widow, on Facebook. And she's always posting memories, with the grandkids and with Paul
Mhm.
and from Father's Day. And I will just say that it's always sad when you lose somebody, regardless of their age. But like when I lost my dad, he was 82. He lived full life expectancy and had a good life, and he didn't suffer at the end and everything. Like I celebrate that, but I feel so bad for those, and it could be you, it could be
Yeah.
me, it could be anyone that's on this stream right now whose life will be cut short without us ever knowing it. And the people that are able to make it to the finish line, Ryno, like Willie Mays at 93, like Jerry West at 86, right? Like Jim Otto in his mid 80s. Like I go, wow, man. All right. Think about how hard life is and think about everything that we go through and all of you know, the diseases and ailments and like I'm like, wow, right? And then when I see someone's life like Paul Westfall, who doesn't even make it to 70, who was just a vibrant, just a just the joy to the world. I just I just think about these things all the time, Ryno. And again, I hate to go off on a tangent like
Yeah,
this
no.
because nobody's going to live forever. But the goal is to live a complete life, right? The goal is, and we have people right now, in hospitals with cancer and all kinds of ailments and everything. And it seems to me, Ryno, it's becoming more and more challenging to hit that full life expectancy. And when I see the people that we're celebrating, like Willie Mays, gosh, 93, and I know his health wasn't good the last couple of years, and I know, but I've been watching a lot of videos on Willie the last 24 hours. Some as a player, some post career. I just saw a great video that I just watched before I came on when he was in the broadcast booth with Vin Scully, right before Vin had retired. I don't know if you saw that video, but
I
it was
didn't.
magical. And I'm just like, wow, you look at how long Vin Scully lived. And
Yeah.
so I just, it's been a real tough couple of weeks, Ryno, with some of the real great, 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 great people of our lifetime, regardless of the generation. Willie Mays, Jim Otto, right? Jerry West. Think
Yep.
about that. Willie Mays, right?
Yep.
Jim
Bill.
Otto, Bill Walton. I mean, I can go. I mean, it's unbelievable, right? Well, I just, and I know you're only 40, or excuse me, you're 39.
Hey, give me 2
So
more days. Give me
yeah,
2.
but the point is, you didn't get a chance to see Willie Mays play. You didn't get a chance to see Jerry West play. You didn't get a chance to see, those greats play. I did, and they were a fabric of my childhood,
Yeah.
right? So when I think about when these icons, these legends pass away, it takes me back to my childhood. And I didn't watch Willie play a lot with the Giants because I grew up in New York. And the San Francisco Giants weren't on TV that much, right?
Much different.
I
Yeah.
watch. You know what? I know this is going to sound crazy. I remember Willie Mays more as a Met than as a Giant, just for me,
Sure.
because I was in my childhood, and he ended his career with the Mets, and I hated the Mets, despised the Mets. But I used to watch the Mets on Channel 9 in New York, WOR, just to watch Willie Mays play. Like I would watch the Mets because Willie Mays was playing.
Yeah, there's certain players like that, Grant, and I know it brings you back sometimes to your own morality when you see those heroes, the people you respected so much, that you looked up to, that you looked forward to turning on the TV and seeing. But it's a reminder that we can't control the quantity, but we can control the quality. And you talk about
Amen.
Willie Mays, and even up to the end of his life, a couple years before this, still attending Giants games at times, and that park would get
Amazing.
electric any
Electric.
time Willie was in the crowd or introduced to the crowd. And it's those little moments, even the Paul Westfall moment you're talking about. You don't know what somebody else is going through, but you know somebody else is going through something. So pick up the phone, reach out.
Willie McCovey, Juan Marichal, those Giants teams with Mays and McCovey. I mean, wow. If you were an opposing pitcher and you're looking at that Giants lineup with Mays and McCovey, oh my gosh.
Oh boy.
Those were some amazing teams. Amazing, amazing teams.
Yeah, and with the advent, one good thing about the internet is you're able to go back and watch some of these things, and you'll see the games a little bit differently. You can watch some of those guys. It's pretty damn cool.
Hornador says the legends that live wonderful, full lives are tough to lose, but the ones that hurt more are the Kobes that go way, way too young with so much more to offer and don't get to. Yeah, I mean, the tragedies of life. Yeah, that's why, as Ryno said, quality of life, right? Live
Yep.
your life every day, quality of life, because you never know. Hey, we would really appreciate it if you would call the show if you have any memories on some of our great icons, Willie Mays or anything else. You've got the QR code. Ryno has put the link up on the screen as well. So we would love to have you participate in the show today. It would be great for you to share some memories.
Yep, that would make us feel really good and probably spur some memories of our own as well. And speaking of calls, let's kick it off with Al tonight.
Hey guys, how we doing?
Hey, Al.
And hey Grant, thank you for your gracious tribute. It wasn't really a rant; it was a tribute to Willie. Man, I was fortunate enough to watch him play in the Bay Area, and I went to one game. He hit 2 home runs in the game, and he had like he was a 5-tool player, man. I know you grew up with Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, but Willie, man, he had everything. He had the glove, the hit, the arm, the stealing bases, hit the power, the grace. It's just, he was just phenomenal. The greatest player for me I've ever seen. I'm very privileged to watch him play when I was a young kid.
The best.
And I just want to say, as far as the finals goes, I was really happy to see Jason Tatum finally get a ring. I'm not a Boston fan, but he goes about his business in a professional manner, and I really appreciate how he does his business. So I was happy to see him get his ring, and good for him, man.
Al, we're going to let you go. Thank you very much. And the only reason why we're doing that is because when we speak, we got a lot of feedback coming through on your end. We heard you perfectly. We appreciate you calling, but it would be very distracting for us to ask you questions with the feedback. So thank you, Al. We greatly appreciate you leading us off here on this Wednesday. We haven't talked about the NBA championship yet, which concluded when I was off for a couple of days. Boston was the best team in the regular season.
Yep.
And they were by far the best team in the postseason, and they earned this championship. They earned it, and I give them all the credit. They made some bold moves in the offseason, and their bold moves paid off by adding Porzingis and Holiday. The Holiday move wasn't a bold move. I mean, but to me, the Marcus Smart was the three-way deal where you got Porzingis, and it made this team great, not good. It made him great.
Yeah, and great with the chemistry too. When you have personalities and stars of that magnitude that are able to mesh that well for the common good and able to come together, it makes it that much more special. Luka, the Mavs, back to the drawing board. That team runs it back. But Boston, this is what the NBA wants. They want to see teams like that. Parity, big markets. They get it done. Not sure they do it again, though.
One thing the NBA does not want is what happened in the last 2 rounds. That was a disaster for the NBA, right? 1 4-game sweep and 2 5 games. So that's not good for the NBA. All right. You only played 14 of a possible 21 games. And with that wanes interest. All right. And that's just it's reflective in the ratings. That's not good for the NBA. The NBA can't control that, but it's still not good for the NBA.
Napes, I got more complaints on the Kings court, not just about the playoffs, but the style of play. It doesn't matter that there was 5 games. There could have been 7. People were tired of it. They didn't like it.
Terrible.
They weren't hoping for another game. And that's the exact opposite you want heading into the offseason.
I watch very little of the NBA finals. I watch very little of the NBA playoffs. It turned me off. I've been watching hockey every night. I'll be watching again Game 6 with Edmonton and Florida. And I mean, there's no reason why that shouldn't go back to 7 games. But I have lost a lot of interest. I think the NBA is in need of major. Let me take that word, not major. I think the game needs to be looked at, dissected, and fixed, because to me, the way the game is played now is not what I envisioned 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. I never thought the game would be played the way it is today. And I think that the brand of the NBA is solid. The marketing, the ratings may be suffering, but the money coming in from the networks aren't suffering.
No.
The NBA brand is still very, very good and lucrative, but the quality of play is suffering and continues to suffer. And you and me and everyone else that's on the stream, we talk about the Kings after every game, and almost every time we look at three-point shooting as the determining factor on whether they win or lose. Now, there are exceptions, but for the most part, Ryno, we would always look at that one category. And on nights when the Kings shot the ball well from three, they would win. And when they didn't, they would lose. And that was true of a lot of teams in the NBA, not just Sacramento.
Yeah, very much so. You almost, that's the qualifier, Grant. You got to be able to shoot at least 43s to be competitive in today's NBA. And you would think you would want leads not to be safe, but not with the way it happens throughout the games with big swings, 20, 25-point leads. And I don't see the game, Grant. One thing about the game, it's not just the product right now, it's growing it for the next generation. It's enticing a new audience. And I don't see that happening like you normally do.
Go to any playground in America, go to any gym in America where there's basketball being played among our youth, and every single kid is doing nothing but shooting threes. Exactly. If you go watch kids practice, forget about even playing in games. Just pickup games where before the game starts, are they working on their free throws? No.
Nope.
Are they working on mid-range jump? No. They're all outside chucking the ball up from three.
That or trying to dunk if they're big young kids.
That's true. Very good point.
Those two things. Grant, there were days, you could probably remember this even from lacrosse, or when you played hoops, you didn't touch the ball for half the practice. You worked on fundamentals. You worked on footwork, defense, all those things. It's not the case anymore. And in order to grow the game, it's got to get back to some level of fundamentals. And to another point, they've got to take the power a little bit away from the players during the game. The feedback with the officials, the ability to, for all intents and purposes, stop the game to complain. It's not a good look.
Amen. You are 100% correct. Hey, I want to tell you about Sunrise Landing and everything at CalusaSunrise.com. This is from Blazona Development. It is the newest residential community in Calusa, adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club. Great access to I-5, Highway 45, Highway 20. No Mellorews, no homeowners out at Calusa. And the Sunrise Landing is phenomenal. All you need to do is go to CalusaSunrise.com. That is CalusaSunrise.com, and you can check it out for yourself. So great to have everyone here on this stream on Wednesday, and we appreciate your calls, all the chat messages, and everything else. We will do our best to respond when we can.
Absolutely. And like I said, the link is in the chat if you'd like to call like Al. In fact, we've got Condog with us. Welcome in tonight.
What's up, Condog?
All right. Back at it again for some more. And yeah, you hit the nail in that fence, Ryan. There's just a lot of fundamentals that are just missed today with, the younger generation. There's just, nobody cares about free throws anymore, They don't, have them run suicides, like Coach Carter style. They don't have them do that, the gritty stuff that actually takes to win basketball games a lot.
Let me ask you a question. How do you know that?
Oh, I mean, I watched a lot of practices, just back in my days, because I used to mascot a lot too, and I'd be, right there next to the practices in high school and stuff. And yeah, there was just a lot more, outside 3-point, who could dunk, a lot of that was, going on. And, it started reflecting even more in the younger and younger generations, where more people were, standing outside, trying to hit the threes and stuff, going Curry, hitting some really far shots, like near the half court line. It just kind of, the way the game kind of evolved, back in the day, when it's just based off who the stars are, like back in the, if Jordan, he had a great mid range, he could fly. So, people wanted to hit mid ranges like him, try and dunk like him, or if you were a big guy, you probably tried to post up like Shaq or Hakeem. But now, the big guys don't really play the post up game either. So they're moved outside too as well. So that also starts, well, now more people got to keep shooting the threes. And, and they sometimes play point guard too, look at, Sabonis or Jokic, they have the ball in their hands. They're the center point of the offense at the top of the key, dribble handoffs, taking it up the court sometimes and hitting the open guy down there.
Well, here's the problem, okay? The big problem with what's going on with the NBA right now is you can't just say as a league everything's great because you're going to make a ton of money from your TV deal.
Yep.
The reality is the networks that are paying all of this money need to hit goals when it comes to advertising revenue. And your advertising rates are based on ratings. And if the ratings are not good, then the networks are going to be in a real difficult situation. And that's why we read about so many layoffs at our sports networks like ESPN, for instance, and Fox.
Yeah,
and that is going to continue.
Those are big company like that. Those companies, they if they don't have the money, then no one else is going to have the money.
Yeah. Well, I would just say that the NBA, to me, needs to tinker with their game. They need to tinker with it. They need to make some changes. And the biggest change they need to make is still what I go back to, Jerry. Just get rid of the corner three. Get rid of the corner three.
Oh, yeah. Corner three, it's one of those shots that, a lot of people, it's cool to make, it's sexy, but, it's really, it's really just a tough shot to make in general because there's no backcourt and stuff. It actually leads to just a lot of misses.
Yeah. Well, Condog, thank you very much for joining us. Greatly appreciated. It's always good when we can have you on the program. Ryno, you know who else has a birthday? Who's a Gemini?
Who is that?
Is Mr. Brian Bennett. From
Mr. Bennett.
Bennett's, that's right. Sacramento, Roseville, and the West Side Grill in Rockland. So, Brian, belated happy birthday to you, my friend. We greatly appreciate your support. And the happy hour sips and taste I've talked about, it is phenomenal from 2 to 6 every day. They have tremendous share plates that you will absolutely love. Various wines. They have so many wines by the glass, many $14 or less. And you'll find many others for as little as $6. Get to Bennett's. Don't forget about their weekend brunch. Ryno, you've been there for the weekend brunch.
Boy. Yep.
Their prime seafood and steak. It's all there for you at Bennett's. And belated happy birthday to Brian Bennett. We appreciate your support, sir.
Yes, thank you, Brian. Happy birthday. And when you go into Bennett's, let them know that you heard about him here on If You Don't Like That. I can promise you that will spark up a conversation. That and the food. So I'm getting hungry thinking about it.
It's one of the first stops I make as soon as I get back to the Sacramento area.
Have to, Napes.
Yeah.
Jay, welcome in tonight.
What's going on, guys? How you guys doing?
Good. How are you? Like your background, Jay. You're looking good tonight, buddy.
Thank you. Almost as sharp as you.
Let's not get carried away, okay?
Yeah, no. On to just to touch on the youth and the fundamentals and every kid checking up threes and trying to dunk if they're athletic. I agree with that 100%. What's funny is I used to actually coach youth basketball down at the Salvation Army too, where I also grew up. I coached a couple seasons there. And I could say I was coaching the age group from 12 to 14. So right when you're about to go to that high school age, right, middle school. So when I would coach, I wouldn't necessarily sit there and focus on, hey, let's practice our dribbling and let's do a whole bunch of cone drills. That's something that I actually used to do when I was like in elementary school, right? We needed to learn how to get around the court, but rather I would focus on preparing them for high school and preparing them for the next level, because a lot of these community leagues and these AAU teams don't run sets. They don't run plays, especially in AAU. It's ISO basketball. Let's full court press the whole game and let's just try to outrun the other team and score as many points. So I tried when I was coaching to really push sets, how to beat press breaks, how to set screens. I have been victim my first season to running ISO ball once or twice, depending on reading the defense. I don't want to get carried away, but if they're they were playing a man instead of a zone on us, I would have our best player go ISO and shift 4 players literally to the other corner. And it was kind of funny to watch it in action because everybody's like, what's going on? It's literally 1-on-1 on the other side of the court.
Yeah.
But that's just
You ready for this? You ready for this?
What's up?
Before the Kings had their practice facilities.
Yeah, the Salvation Army was.
They used to practice at the Salvation Army in downtown
I know
Sacramento.
that.
How about that for you?
Yeah. They have the. That was one of the first ones with the skylights. That was a huge thing back then. So I grew up playing there, and I coached there for a little bit. But yeah, it used to be the old Sacramento Kings facility for practicing. Yeah. So.
I don't think Grant I don't want to speak for you, but we're not saying we don't like the 3-ball. We don't like high flying.
Yeah,
just like anything, there's got to be balance, Jim.
Oh,
when
100,
we were kids,
100%. At the same time, when I coach, and I agree with you actually 100%, because I'm kind of in the middle, because I've played at high school level. I know what it's like to run in a set, but I also know what it is when you have a talented player on your team who is capable of more than doing one thing and actually has potential to be a good shooter. So I actually urge like my team, I guess you could say, my players, certain players, to take that 3 when they're open, not just to chuck up the shot, but to also build confidence in these players when they see it go in and actually believe in their shot. But like you said, you can't just we're just settle and shoot. No, you know what I mean? I totally get what you're saying, though, Ryno. You do want them to be able to build that confidence, but it's balance, 100%.
Yeah, and there's guys in the NBA now. I mean, you got one on your team, a really special one that's switching to number 11, Domantas Sabonis, that makes a living off of fundamentals, footwork.
Oh, yeah.
Look, with social media these days, you're seeing dunking, you're seeing how many threes can you make in 30 seconds. If the NBA finds a way to shift that focus a little bit, towards some fundamentals, market the guys, because some of the most special guys are special because they play the game the way it was supposed to be played.
And one of my favorite players that is a prime example of that is Rajon Rondo. Very high IQ, just like LeBron James on the court, fundamental. He never was a great 3-point shooter. He never was uber athletic.
Maybe the smartest player I've ever been around.
Exactly.
I only spent about
Why is that?
years. Rondo could coach the team. He's the only player in my 32 years that I ever saw sit at the front of the bus on the way to the game with his laptop in his hand, going over scouting reports with the coaches, getting further prepared. He's the only one in 32 years I've ever seen do that.
Really?
George Karl at time would let him diagram plays during timeouts because his basketball IQ was through the roof.
Yeah, I think there was a couple times where I think I saw some footage of him breaking down a play for the team in the huddle when he played for the Lakers.
Unbelievably incredible basketball IQ.
Yeah. I saw this comment right here, the Trevor Lawrence $275 million, and I only bring that back up because I spoke to Ryno about that, and I wanted to get your take on it. Is it too soon, and is it too much?
Well, first of all, no and no, because they're paying Trevor Lawrence on what they project him
upside
to be for that franchise. So that money is not for what he's done; it's for what he's going to do, and they feel that he is a special quarterback with elite skills, and they're paying him for what they expect over the length of the contract. So no, It's very much in line with what the market is today, and they love him, and they think that he's going to bring them phenomenal success. So I don't have a problem with it. Is it too soon? No, it's not too soon. What are you going to do? You're not going to sign him?
Right. That's actually good to hear. I pretty much have the same exact perspective because I was watching, the news on ESPN, and there's a couple of retired football players that are sitting here and saying, "Oh, that's too soon and way too much. He's a below average performer. This, that, the third."
No. Below average is absurd.
Or he had the same numbers as Gardner Minshew. So why is he making more than like Patrick Mahomes and this and that? And I agree with you 100%. It's the market. It is what it is.
Why is Dak Prescott making $40 million a year? Why is Daniel Jones making $40 million a year?
Exactly.
Daniel Jones shouldn't be anywhere near.
They said that. They were going in on Daniel Jones too. Let me tell you, they were saying he shouldn't even be in the league. Why is he making?
Well, that's nonsense. Last year, he was the starting quarterback on a team that made the playoffs. He played very well, and he played very, very well in the playoff game when the Giants beat Minnesota. So to say that he shouldn't be in the league is absurd. He should be in the league, but he's not a $40 million a year quarterback.
He's not. But like you said, it goes back to the market. That's what it is at the end of the day. And I wanted to look at a lot of these NFL players that are saying, "Hey, you're getting overpaid to underperform." That may be true from a on-field perspective, but they were just NFL players. They were never in a front office. They were never a general manager. I'm not either. And this is what I was telling Ryno is I like to look at every perspective and the business perspective. So I said, I'm going to look up who the Jacksonville Jaguars #1 jersey sales are. And Trevor Lawrence was the only one in the top 50 in the entire NFL last season.
Think about that.
Be from the Jacksonville Jaguars and be in those top 50 jersey sales. So even if you're paying him that much money, the fans and the people are going to essentially pay him his contract to have him there. He's the one selling tickets. He's the one selling Jaguar gear. He's the one.
Well, look at what the Cleveland Browns did. The Cleveland Browns took a guy.
That's exactly what Ryno said. He hit the
that.
nail on the head. He said exactly the same thing.
So I don't even have to finish my sentence then. You guys are on the same page as me. Here's the reality. Quarterback in the National Football League is the biggest mistake that franchises make annually, both in drafting and paying. Okay? And the way the NFL is structured right now with the hard cap, if you make a mistake with a top draft pick, generally speaking, not always. I'm using the 49ers as an example because they got lucky when they took.
And we talked about that too.
So, but think about what it's done to the Bears franchise with two horrible picks, Mitchell Trubisky and Justin Fields. And Fields may end up being a good quarterback someday, but the reality is that ended up being a bad trade with the Giants and a bad pick because he's not even there anymore. Baker Mayfield with Cleveland, Zach Wilson, Sam Darnold with the Jets, right? And I can just go on and on and on and on and on and on. All right. When you make a mistake at the top of the draft with a quarterback, it sets you back. When you pay a quarterback who doesn't end up being that guy, it kills you with the salary cap in the NFL. And we see it every year, and we're going to continue to see it. And that's just the reality of the situation. So when you ask me about Trevor Lawrence, they feel that he's got special written all over him. They feel that he is going to be in that next group of the great quarterbacks. And so that's why they gave him the deal that they did.
He makes this. If he walks, your sales goes down. Every sale, all the way from tickets, jerseys, merchandise to food, concession, all of that goes down. He's making money for them.
Cody just said Josh Rosen, another one. Johnny Manziel. Look at the Raiders with Jamarcus Russell years ago. Right? It set the Raiders
Jimmy
back.
Garoppolo. I don't even think he's in the league right now.
Who?
Jimmy Garoppolo. He's still getting paid some. I mean, it's not as much, but he's still getting
paid.
Yeah,
but but you see, here's the difference with all of those guys that I just mentioned. Jimmy Garoppolo was really good when he played. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo started in a Super Bowl and also played in an NFC Championship game where he didn't get to the Super Bowl. Okay. I mean, let's not talk about Jimmy Garoppolo like he couldn't play. Jimmy Garoppolo was a damn good quarterback. For the 49ers,
I think he's better than Mayfield and Deshaun Watson and Fields, Daniel Jones. I think he's better than all of those guys for sure. I agree. With you, but he's not even playing right now in the league, and he's like it sets like you said, it sets you back as a franchise.
He'll be playing this year. You watch him. He'll be playing for somebody.
Where is he at?
I'm just saying he will be. It's only June. He'll be on a
Oh.
roster. He'll be back.
Okay,
I mean, it's.
I was like, I would love to see him play for sure.
He'll play. So, Jay, good hearing from you, buddy.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Appreciate it. Always a pleasure to have you on with some very good insight. But Ryno, I don't have a problem with what the Jaguars did at all. I have no problem with that.
Absolutely not. It's got to start from the top down. And also, nobody's mentioned Trevor Lawrence's body. He's a prototypical drop back quarterback, massive guy, 6'6", durable, tough as hell. So makes all the sense in the world.
All right. Cody says Garoppolo is backing up Matthew Stafford now. There you have it. Thank you, Cody.
There you
Didn't even realize that he was on the Rams roster.
There's a spot for Jimmy G. Talk about marketing. You could always find room for Jimmy. So, anyways, we bring in the guru. Zach, welcome in tonight.
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I kind of missed some of the show today, but just want to talk some Kings. We all hear the names Levine, Kuzma, Ingram. There's one player that I hear a little bit here and there is Jonas Valanciunas. I am 100% against him, 100%, because I think he would not space the floor. I don't think he'd be a good fit with Sabonis, and he's too expensive to be a backup big, which that's.
Well, he would never be a backup. You're not going to get Valanciunas and have him as a backup. He's not a backup. He's a starter.
Yeah, for sure. But like, if we're not gonna start him and Sabonis. So if we wanted to get him, I wouldn't do that.
Well, you're not going to pay somebody what Valanciunas is making with his skills and how good he is, and then have him as a backup. That's not happening.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just saying because Kings fans kind of want, he's been in the rumors for the Kings a lot, recently and stuff, and I just don't think he'd be a good fit for us. And I don't know, just kind of see your thoughts on that.
Well, I don't know. The team didn't make the playoffs last year, so I mean, when you say it's not a good fit, I understand where you're coming from, but Jerry Reynolds always says you become a better basketball team by getting better players, and he's a really good player.
Yeah, I agree. I can't. He's not a free agent, right? He would just be a trade. Would we doing a trade, or is he a free agent?
I'm not sure, Zach. I would have to double check that. And I actually disagree. I think him and Sabonis could work, especially if Sabonis is spreading his game out a little bit more. And that could help Keegan Murray to a degree slide over to the 3, which Jerry thinks is his natural position.
Yep. I mean, that's a big if, though, because I would agree if Sabonis is averaging and making a decent amount of threes. He was averaging 1.1 last year. He needs to get that up regardless, I think, to me at least, and get 37, at least 36, 38%. I think he's got to shoot maybe around 3 or something, make a 37% or something like that. But we're a run and gun team. If you got Sabonis and Valanciunas running back and forth, I don't think that's great. The spacing is not great.
Zach, are you a run and gun team though? It's not how the Kings played the last half of the season, or I should say the latter part after the All-Star break.
That's true, but I don't see Keon Ellis being like a full-time starter for a while. I think if Keon Ellis is going to be the full-time starter, then I can get that we're going to be a little bit more nosy defensive type of team. But if we're getting Herter is still there, or Monk is still getting 30 minutes, I think we should still be a run and gun team. That's kind of how we play with Sabonis and Fox. I think that's kind of that's the style I think Mike Brown wants to play. We're all guessing, but he had to go kind of the defensive route near the end of the season with some injuries and Keon kind of showing up a little bit. But
I think the Kings are going to be a vastly different looking team next year. I'm not expecting Monk to be re-signed. I'm not expecting Herter to be on the team. We don't know about Vezenkov and what's going on with him, but I still don't see him playing a major role on the team. I think you're going to have a couple of some new pieces that are going to be dramatically different from what you have been watching the last year. I really believe that.
And really quick, Valanciunas is a free agent, bird rights right now, but last season made just a tad over $15 million.
I see. Okay, cool. Then I guess we would have to use the mid-level exception if he wants to get that $13 million a year. 12 million.
I'll pick him up at the airport for $13 million a year.
But I mean, I don't know. The spacing is so important. I mean, you saw with the Celtics, they were 5 out. I mean, they won the championship being really good at being a space floor team. That was the epitome.
No. You know why they won the championship? Because they play great defense. That's why they won the championship. Because they hold teams to under 90 points in the freaking playoffs, like they did to Dallas several times, and under 100 with all the games except for one. That's why they won. Yes, I understand what you're saying, but let's not gloss over why the Boston Celtics won the championship. Their defense is stupendous.
And really quick, Zach, it was a wicked Western Conference this year, and the two teams that it came down to both play two Twin Towers. So it could be shifting, and Jerry Reynolds thought that door is cracked open.
I don't know, because I guess I'm just fully against it, because I don't think there's that many teams that have two big men that doesn't shoot threes, other than I think the Cleveland Cavaliers are the only one. But other than that, you're gonna, most of the bigs are 4 and 5. There's going to be a shooting center or power forward like Karl Anthony Towns. He's spreading the floor at least.
Zach,
without even knowing what's going to happen in the draft and free agency, without even knowing that, and I may change my opinion on this, by the way, in a couple of weeks. The Kings at best right now are a 5th place team in the West. That's best case scenario, right? So, it is what it is. The West is, Oklahoma City is going to be a powerhouse for quite a while in the West. Minnesota's not going anywhere for a while, the way they're set up, okay? Denver still has Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. They're not going anywhere, right? Dallas just got a taste of an NBA Finals with a Luka who will figure it out this offseason to add that missing piece, whether it's defense or whatever. All right, Kyrie still has a lot of good years left. They have a lot of good pieces around him, okay? They're not going anywhere. New Orleans showed that they're definitely better than Sacramento. Memphis, by the way, is, if they're healthy, probably is better than Sacramento. All right, I mean, the Clippers I'm not sold on. The Warriors I'm not sold on. The Lakers I'm not sold on. But here come the Spurs. Here come the Rockets. And you better look out on the West.
Yeah, and I think
right.
Okay. Yeah, I agree 100%, Grant. You're spot on. I think this is the misconception about Sabonis and the 3-ball. The word, and Grant, I don't know what you've been hearing, but the 2 words I have been hearing from my King sources about this offseason is free throws. A lot of focus on free throws this offseason. So when it comes to Sabonis in the 3-ball, if you take him out and you want him shooting too many threes, where else are the free throws going to come from when you had such a drop-off last year? You don't need Sabonis to shoot a lot of threes. You need him to be able to shoot the 3 without hesitating to create that floor space.
It's a good point.
That's a good point. Yeah, because Sabonis, he used to shoot 2.5 threes back in Indiana, but he kind of shifted that off. But I mean, definitely free throws is definitely a big thing the Kings got to improve on, and getting to the line for sure. Fox needs to get inside a little bit more too, for sure, because he was getting away from that and shooting too many threes during the season.
Yeah, by the way, I didn't mention Phoenix when I ran through all the teams because I'm not sold on Phoenix at all right now. I think Phoenix is a team that's they don't know what they are. And I'm not ruling them out, but I didn't even mention Phoenix, which probably is a mistake, but I'm not sold on Phoenix. I really not.
Yeah, I might even be more pessimistic than you. I think we're like a 6th, 7th team at best right now. I don't know, just because with all the assets we got, at least, some of the teams that you talked about, they have at least some assets and stuff like that. So
if you lose Malik Monk, you better make a kick-ass move in the summer to stimulate the fan base again. Because if you lose Malik Monk, okay, Monty McNair's gonna have to make a splash to kind of ease the pain of that. And let's not underestimate what Malik Monk meant to the Kings. You saw it at the end of the year when he wasn't on the floor. Okay, and what he provided, and how many times did we talk about on the post-game show of the Kings winning because of Malik Monk? All right, yeah, there were some bad moments, the missed free throws in Milwaukee, but by and large, we talked about Malik Monk in the 4th quarter and in overtime so many times coming up big for Sacramento.
Yeah, it would be catastrophic in my opinion if the Kings lost Monk. I think it would be huge, because it's just like we want assets, right? That's just an asset that we can get and retain. Yep. And if we lose that, we just lost another asset for nothing. And it's just like,
plus he's in his prime.
Yeah.
Plus, he's
Yes.
right in his prime.
Exactly. And if we don't get him, it's going to be tough. But if we don't get him, I've been saying, like, the Kuzma or Levine trade's got to happen at this point. I would rather have Kuzma than Levine. Levine maybe is a little bit cheaper. I don't know if we can get him.
No.
You don't think so?
Well, you have more leverage in trying to get Levine because nobody wants to take that contract on, and the Kings may be the only suitor, but he signed through 26, 27 at a number close to $50 million.
Yep.
So it's a lot of money you're going to be paying with Fox, with Keegan coming up in the next 2 years.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't see, because if the Kings get Levine, like you said, he's 50 million. Fox is going to want 50 million. Sabonis is going to has 40, 45, and then you got Keegan who's going to want 30 or whatever in 2 years. That's almost 180 million right there. So, and I don't know if Vivek's going to be spending that type of money in 2-3 years.
Thank you, bud. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Appreciate
All
the
right.
call, Zach.
Yep. Thank you very much. Hey, I want to tell you about New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you. They're available around the clock 24/7 for all of your plumbing needs and repairs. All you need to do is go to sacserviceplumbing.com. That's sacserviceplumbing.com. And if it comes up on the screen, you'll be able to see it yourself. It's a little bit slow here. But take my word for it. New Works Plumbing is awesome. They've got a fix for you. Ryno, I know they were at your home recently.
Yes, they were amazing here within 8 hours. Not only took care of the problem we had, but diagnosed some future problems that we might be looking at. And we got those all wrapped up in just one day. So huge thanks to them.
I'm trying to put it up on my screen and it won't
Will
come
we
up
see
on my
it, brother?
screen.
I got it, Grant. Do you not see it?
Oh, no, it's not up on my screen. You see it?
Interesting. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then you can take it down when we're finished with it. But again, sacserviceplumbing.com or call the number on your screen. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you.
Huge thanks to New Works and the team there. Grant, are we overvaluing Monk just a tad bit due to the lack of production last year from the starters at times?
No, I don't think so. The reality, I always look at minutes played and fourth quarter lineups. And so, no, I don't think we're overvaluing Malik Monk at all. I think minutes played and almost every game in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes or less left in a close game, he was on the floor, correct?
Yeah, most times he was. There was only a couple occasions.
So to me, he's basically a starter.
Yeah, he is. I just wonder if he was asked to do a little too much last year, a little more than needed. And maybe that's where, when it comes to this Kings team, just the little improvements can add up to a big improvement. But at the end of the day, I do think the team looks dramatically different, like you said.
Yeah, we got a couple of big weeks coming up, and I hope you can subscribe to the channel. It's easy to do. Just hit the subscribe button. Also, give us a thumbs up. We'd greatly appreciate it because we're going to be doing a lot of content starting next week. After Ryno's big birthday weekend, we'll start hitting the draft next week. How's that sound, buddy?
Sounds great. I can't wait. I've already been doing my homework, Napes. I'm
good.
ready to go.
That's good because I'm going to be leaning on you for your draftee expertise, my friend.
You got it. We've been hitting it on the King's Court at 2:00 weekdays, so you can check in there. But we'll have the grand finale of our player reviews right here on If You Don't Like That.
As we sit here a little less than 2 weeks from the NBA draft, do you feel there's a consensus number one?
I do not. SAR seems to be kind of in that conversation. Other than that, I think it could go a lot of different ways. I think that being said, where the Kings are picking, I think there is a set group of guys that will be available in that range.
At 13, assuming that they keep their pick, you think, are we talking about a group of 3 or 4 different players?
Yeah, I think there's a group of 3 between definitely Tristan Da Silva. I think Edie's probably going to be there as well. And then Jacoby Walter, I think he'll be in that range too. And we can talk more about those names next week, as Grant said.
All right. So tomorrow at 2:00, the King's Court with Ryno. And then we will be back right here at 8:00. We'll do it all over again.
Can't wait. Looking forward to it, partner.
Appreciate the phone calls today. Appreciate the birthday wishes. Don't forget that the big fella here is going to be 4-0, the big 4-0 on Friday.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm already getting gray thinking about it, Napes. Might have to shave our heads again. Maybe it'll make us look younger.
And Bane, thank you very much for the birthday gifts.
Yes.
We appreciate it. Thank you. for your super chat donation. Ryno, you have yourself a good evening, buddy.
You as well, Napes.
All right, to everyone else, 2 o'clock tomorrow, the King's Court with Ryno, and then back here at 8 o'clock.